Welcome to another craft video from the Kansas City, Kansas Public Library. I'm Cheryl and I'm in charge of the craft kits at the main library. And today's video is to accompany a kit that we'll be giving out starting January 15th, 2024. But if you don't have time to come to the library to get a kit, or if you're watching this later on our YouTube channel, I'll tell you everything that's in the kit so that you can purchase your own supplies. So what we're making is an idea that I borrowed from our friends over at the Lincoln Public Library in Rhode Island. They did this wonderful little wreath out of paper. I scaled it down a bit and gave it a winter theme. So it is a kind of a wreath, kind of not, but it's a wall decor. We have a cord that you're going to hang it with, and these are all made from squares of scrapbook paper. And it's glued onto a paper plate base with a cord for hanging. It's a great winter idea, but you can adapt this idea for any size or any other holiday. So I've used 4-inch squares of scrapbook paper for these cones. If you use 6 inches, it'll be larger. Like I said, I scaled it down from the original design. But if you want a smaller one, you can even use 3-inch squares. That's a little harder to roll cones on a smaller piece of paper. But if you want a huge one, you could actually take like a whole square of scrapbook paper, which is 12 inches, and you'll end up with a huge wreath. So, but you can also do different colors for the different times of year. I mean, can you see doing like an Easter wreath in pastel colors? Or a 4th of July wreath for red, white, and blue? Or even a Halloween wreath in oranges and blacks? It'd be perfect for any of those. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so what you'll have in the kit, or what you'll need to purchase if you don't have the kit, is a small paper plate. You will have one fairly stiff 6-inch square of, it's not quite cardstock, but it's a firm paper. You'll have 24-inch squares of various blues and teals of just regular scrapbook paper. You will have about 18 to 20 inches of cord for hanging, and you're going to have 2 different glues. One's going to be a glue stick, which is going to be used to glue all the paper, and this is E6000. It's a more firm glue, and that's going to be used to glue the cord on the back to serve as a hanger, since that's going to need to be a little bit more sturdy. You will also need a pair of scissors to cut the plate. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to trim around, right around here, and cut the lip off. Okay, and you're going to want to keep only the flat portion, and you can trim it a little bit more to try and make it as round as possible and get off all of the curve. Now what we're going to do is you're going to take the 6-inch square, and we're going to trace this onto here and cut it out, or you can just hold it up like this and cut around it like this. We're going to use these two to sandwich the rolled paper cones that we're going to be making in between these 2 pieces of paper to form a backing and to cover up all of the ends of the cones, so it looks a little more nice and tidy. Now you will have some form of blue or gray or teal of this, but if you like This part here, you're certainly welcome to use this as the front instead of the back if you'd prefer. I'm going to use this as the front and this is the back, and it's a little more sturdy that way too. Now we're going to set those aside for a minute, and what we're going to do is we're going to form all of these squares into cones. So you're going to take that the back of it, you're going to run a line of glue, especially in that corner, like that. Then you're going to curve it around, and you're going to pinch that together. The glue is going to be on the top one so that it sticks together, and hold it until it forms a pretty sturdy cone until the glue sets. Now this, you notice I wasn't perfect about this here. That's because that's going to be covered up. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to make all of those, and we're going to end up flattening about the bottom inch, and we're going to put some glue on that. And I'm going to put that like that. So we're going to do that for all of the cones all the way around, and then we're going to use this and we're going to glue this down and sandwich it so that the ends of the cones are glued in between. Okay, so I'm going to go through all 20 pieces of paper I've got here of the 4-inch squares, and I'm going to make the cones. Now, if you get a square that's a little firmer material, you can always like run your fingernail along that bottom corner to kind of pre-curve it so that it will make a nice point. Okay, so that's all my cones made. I've made all 20 cones and I've flattened the tip. Now I'm going to decide how I'm going to arrange them around. I tend to like to alternate darknesses, dark, light, and the different colors. You might even have enough that you won't need all 20. I think that's how I'm going to put them around. And you will need to hold these down for a few seconds while the glue sets. You might even get something to hold them down. Like this has a little bit of weight to it, so I could hold and press this for a little bit if my hands get tired. With my spacing, I can always just do them one at a time. It's up to you how quote unquote perfect you want your wreath or wall decoration to be. And again, I will let them dry, and if pieces seem to be lifting up a little bit, I can always glue them down a little bit more. But I'm actually going to put glue all over the back of this and see if I can glue that down here. So I'm going to bring a piece of paper here so my surface doesn't get glued, and I'm going to glue all the way out around here, even to the edges. I'm going to hold that down. And for this part, you can take a bowl or a large coffee mug and set it down in there so you can let it sit and dry that way. So I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to set it with this weight on top of it for about 5 minutes till the glue is completely dry, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I think it's dry enough to turn it over and put the hanging loop on. Now, the first thing you're going to do before you put the thing on is to figure out, what do you want to be the top? Do you want like one of the turquoise ones to be the top? Do you want one of the blue ones to be the top? I think I'm going to have this turquoise one be the top. So I'm going to gently flip this over, and you'll notice it kind of sticks up at this point. Now we're going to grab this little tube of E6000 glue, and to use these, they are sealed so that they don't dry out. There's a little pointy puncture thing in the back of the lid, so you'll take this off, turn it around, and press that in to puncture the little seal, and you'll see the glue come out. So this was my top. I'm going to add some glue there, and there, and there. Now always put the lid back on this, or else it will dry out completely. I'm going to take my two ends, and I'm going to place this down here into the glue, and you can get a pencil or something to kind of make sure it sits in that glue really well and that it is firmly embedded in there. And this stuff does have an odor, so try and use this in a well ventilated area. Now this is going to take a little bit longer to dry because it's a little stronger. It dries slower when it cures. So you want to set this aside and leave it for, I would recommend for E6000, I always recommend about an hour to make sure it's completely glued. Now, if you don't want to wait an hour, if you have a hot glue gun, you are certainly welcome to glue these on with hot glue, and it is faster, but E6000 is more secure, and it just takes a little extra time to dry. So I'm going to set this aside to dry, and then I'm going to use this as my hanging loop to hang it on the wall. And that's your winter wall decoration. There you go. Okay, thank you for viewing another one of our craft videos from the Kansas City, Kansas Public Library. I'll see you next time. Bye.